A lot of new players build their first army by grabbing the coolest models they can find, and then they play the game for the first time, realize nobody in this army has a job. You have a giant scary model, but nothing to hold objectives. You have cool infantry, but no answer for a tank. You have a leader, but the leader is standing there, alrighty boys, what's the plan? The whole army just stares back and is lost the entire game. And look, picking cool models, it's not wrong. This is Warhammer after all. The models should make you want to build, paint, and put them on the table like a proud little plastic warlord. But your first 1,000 point army needs more than cool models. It needs scoring, damage, anti-tank, speed, and something durable enough to take pressure. This is not about building a tournament list. This is about building your first armies so you can actually play Warhammer without every turn feeling like you forgot to bring half your toolbox. Your first army does not need to be perfect, it needs jobs. 1,000 points is one of the best places to start learning Warhammer 40K because it gives you enough models to feel like you are playing a real battle, but not so many that the table turns into a full-time accounting job. But here's the thing, at 1,000 points, every unit matters more. You do not have a ton of extra points to fix mistakes, so one bad choice can take a huge chunk of that army. And that giant centerpiece model might look amazing, but if it eats almost half your list, now you may have not enough units to score. Same thing with characters. One hero is useful. 4 heroes at 1,000 points is not an army. This is a very dangerous group chat to be in. At this size, you are not trying to bring every cool toy in the faction. You are trying to build a working combat force that can move, score, fight, and survive long enough to teach you the game. And the first piece most players get excited about is the easiest one to overdo: the leader. Start with one useful leader. Most armies want some kind of leader or character. This might be a commander, a war boss, a captain, a priest, a big monster. You got a big bug somewhere in here. Whatever your faction does, the job of the leader is not just to look important. The job is to support your plan. Maybe they make a unit better in melee. Maybe they help with shooting. Maybe they bring command utility that helps the army function better. The question is not, does this character look cool? Because the answer is probably, they all look really cool. The better question is, who are they helping and what are they doing for my army? At 1,000 points, one solid leader is usually enough to start. You can build around the leader, attach them to a unit when your army allows it, and let them strengthen something that already has a job to do. Because once the leader is picked, your army needs something far more important than glory. It needs units that can actually control objectives. Warhammer 40K is not won by just removing models. Killing matters, obviously, because your opponent can't score points with a unit that is currently spread across the battlefield like confetti. But the mission is what wins more games. Objectives decide where the fight happens, who controls the board, and who is actually scoring points each round. That is where objective units come in. These are the squads that stand on points, move in the midfield, screen enemy movement, and force your opponent to deal with them instead of just chasing your big scary unit around. A lot of the time, these are basic infantry, battle line style units, or cheaper squads. They may not be the flashiest models in your collection, but they do the work that wins more games. This is where OC matters. OC stands for Objective Control, and it helps decide who controls an objective when both players have models nearby. A giant monster might kill more, but a squad with enough OC can still take the point and score the victory points. For your first 1,000 point army, try to have at least 2 units that can realistically play objectives. One can hold your home objective or safe ground, and one can move toward the midfield or a side objective. But standing on objective only works until your opponent stands there too. Then you need units that can remove them. Add damage, but give it a target profile. New players often look at a unit and say, this kills stuff, so it is good. And yeah, killing stuff is helpful. Very bold discovery there, Magos. But not all damage is the same. Some units are great at clearing infantry. Some units are built to crack elite troops. Some units are there to threaten vehicles, monsters, and other tough problems. Anti-infantry damage usually means lots of shots, lots of attacks, blast weapons, flamers, chain swords, or anything that clears units off objective. That matters because enemy scoring units are often what actually wins the game for your opponent. Heavy damage is different. This is the stuff with higher strength, better AP, and more damage when the enemy fails a save. That kind of weapon is meant to punch through tougher targets like Terminator-style units, monsters, walkers, and tanks. So when you look at a unit, do not just ask, can I kill it? Ask, what target is this unit supposed to kill? That one question makes list building a little bit easier for you. And that brings us to the target type that punishes beginner armies the hardest. Tanks, monsters, and big armored problems. Do not skip anti-tank. This is one of the most common beginner mistakes. A new player builds an army that can remove infantry pretty well. Then the opponent puts one tank or a monster in the midboard, and suddenly the whole army starts bouncing off of it. At 1,000 points, one tough model can feel massive, not because it is unbeatable, but because your list may not have enough real tools to deal with it. You don't need your whole army built around killing armor. That can go too far the other direction. And now you have giant weapons aiming at little troops like you brought a demolition crew to open a cereal box. What you do need is 1 or 2 units that can threaten tough targets. That might be las cannon style weapons, melta weapons, dedicated heavy weapons, a strong melee threat, a walker, a monster, or a vehicle with a big gun. The goal is not always deleting a tank in one turn. The goal is making your opponent respect the fact that you can hurt it when your opponent knows the big model can take real damage. They have to move more carefully. And that gives you control over the game instead of just hoping the tank politely leaves. If you are new to Warhammer and you want help building armies that actually make sense on the table, subscribe to Tabletop Nexus. We are doing beginner guides, army building, and game strategy without making your brain melt in nun oil. And leave a comment on what kind of video you would like to see next. Now you can score, and you can even threaten enemy models, but none of that matters if your army can't get where it needs to get. Let's add some speed to the mission plan. Speed wins games because Warhammer is played on a table, not in your deployment zone. A slow army can be tougher to deal with. It can hit hard, it can look terrifying. But if it spends the first half of the game waddling toward objectives like it forgot where the battle was happening, you're going to feel behind really fast. Fast units give your army options. They can grab objectives early, pressure weak spots, screen enemy movement, block charges, score some mission points, or force your opponent to react before they are even ready. And fast units do not always need to be your biggest killers. Sometimes their whole job is just being annoying in exactly the spot your opponent didn't want them to be. This could be jump pack units, bikes, fast monsters, transports, scout units, deep strike units, or cheap trading pieces that move quickly. For your 1,000 points, try to bring at least one unit that can move fast, deploy forward, or reach parts of the board your slower units can't. So now the army can move, score, and fight. But it needs something that can take pressure without folding immediately. Let's put one durable threat in the board. A durable threat is something your opponent can't ignore. This might be a tank, a monster, a dreadnought-style unit, a tough elite squad, or a melee unit that is hard to remove. The exact model changes by faction, but the job stays the same. It moves toward an important part of the board and says, deal with me. That creates pressure for your opponent. Your opponent has to decide whether to shoot it, avoid it, charge it, or give it some space. That matters because Warhammer is not just about killing, it is about forcing bad choices. A durable threat makes your opponent spend time, attacks, and movement dealing with something that is hard to shift. But be careful. At 1,000 points, one huge centerpiece can drain the army if it costs too much. A big model is fun, but the rest of your force is 3 lonely squads in a dream. Your opponent may just win the mission around it. So bring something tough, but do not let it swallow the whole list. Now we can put this into a structure you can use in almost any faction. A strong first 1,000 point army usually wants one useful leader, 2 objective units, 1 anti-infantry damage unit, 1 anti-tank or heavy threat unit, 1 fast mission unit, and 1 durable threat. It's not a perfect formula, just a structure that helps you make sure your army can actually play the game. The leader supports the plan, the objective units score points and control space. The anti-infantry clears army troops, the anti-tank unit threatens the big stuff. The fast units reaches places your army needs to reach. Now, some units can cover multiple jobs. A fast unit might also be able to be an objective unit. A durable threat might also bring anti-tank. A leader might make one scoring unit much harder to remove. That is good. You do not need every role to be totally separate units. You just need to look at the army and ask, can this force scoring, move, fight, infantry, threaten armor, or survive pressure? If the answer is yes, you have a starting army that can teach you the game. If the answer is no, you probably found the hole in your list before it punishes you on the table. And before you spend money on the next box, run each unit through its buying test. What to buy first? Don't buy 3 random boxes just because they look cool. Now, cool still matters. I'm not telling you to build an army you hate because some spreadsheet said it had a 2% better win rate. This is Warhammer. You're going to build these models, paint them, transport them, and stare at them for way too many hours. But each purchase should move your army closer to being playable. Combat patrol, starter boxes, and army boxes can be great, but only when the models match the force you're actually wanting to build. A box deal is not always a deal if half the models sit on the shelf forever because they don't fit your plan. Before buying a unit, ask what battlefield role it fills. Does it score? Does it clear infantry? Does it threaten tanks? Does it move fast? Does it survive the pressure? Or does it support another unit? And yes, sometimes the answer is it just looks awesome. That is allowed. We are collecting plastic warriors in a galaxy where chain swords exist after all. The rule of cool is alive and well with this hobby. Just know when you are buying for looks and when you are buying for the army. And the best part is building this way makes your 1,000 points much easier. First 1,000 points should teach you what the next 1,000 points needs. After a few games, patterns will show up. Maybe you keep losing objectives. That means you probably need better scoring pieces, more bodies or units that can survive on points longer. Maybe tanks scare you every game. That means you need more anti-tank or better heavy damage should be up your list. Maybe you're too slow. That means transports, deep strike threats, scout units, some jump units, or fast trading pieces may fix that problem. Maybe everything dies before it does anything. That means you need durability, support characters, safer staging, or units that can take a hit. You don't need to know your final 2,000 point army right away. Your first 1,000 points is the foundation. It teaches you what you enjoy, what your army lacks, and what the next purchase should fix.